I'm just setting up the live stream. I won't be long. Would have been a lot quicker, except Chrome decided today was the day to load really slowly on my laptop. Okay, getting there. So let's go and have a look. Live, the sound is working fine. Live stream is up on my second screen, so we are looking good. Okay, so Shrike Simulations updated their F-86 Sabre in Flight Simulator recently, and it's compatible with 2024, so I thought we'd go and have a look at it. So let's just have a look around the aeroplane from outside first. Anybody who hasn't seen it? So this is the F-86 Sabre from Shrike. This is some freeware scenery of China Lake available from FlightSim.2. So let's go and have a little look around the aeroplane. It's really nicely made, actually. So Shrike are always billed as being more accessible, so we're not looking for this to be the most realistic aeroplane in the world, but it's going to be good fun to fly. I think that's the main takeaway from this aeroplane. Okay, let's go and have a look around and see if we can figure out how to get this thing started. So we go and put the batteries on, and you can see that turns on some of the instruments. We then go and put the the engine master switch to on. I think we can switch this, over to the right. And then we can do an air start of the engine, is that correct? And then press the start button. And see what happens. I've probably done this horrendously wrongly. Okay, do we have to... What's underneath the various switches? That's all good. That's all good. Watching the instruments to see if anything's going to come to life on us. Oh, it's doing it. It's just not showing us much. So we need to advance the throttle out of shut-off. Here we go. Hydraulic pressure's coming up. Let's have a look at this from outside. There's heat pouring out of the back now. Should we just check how much fuel we've got on board? So aircraft, flight performance, mass and balance, fuel, we're 50%, we're going to turn that up significantly. So we've got the right wing in it. Oh, that's actually filling the drop tanks. Okay, we'll go for just enough to not have to put drop tanks on then. So load, look outside. So does that affect the aeroplane, I wonder? If we go and put this enough to have drop tanks, yes it does. But that would give us more room to go and fly around the the Mach loop, I guess. Not the Mach loop, the Sidewinder route, should we choose to. Might be a bit squirrely on takeoff, but we'll soon find that one out, won't we? So let's go and put the parking brake on and just make sure that our controls are working. Looks like it. And what about flaps? So that's 75% on my controller, and that is the only setting. So we don't appear to have fine control of flaps. That's fine, as long as I know about it. And what about weather? Should we go and open LittleNavMap so we can see the weather? So we're going to go and center on our aeroplane, do a new flight plan to get rid of anything we had. So we're at China Lake. So what we could do is go open, have I got the Sidewinder route in here? Yes, I have. And there it is. So, but that's going from Edwards. So let's just modify it. And get rid of waypoint 12. Okay. And we could get rid of that one as well, actually. So there's the Sidewinder route that I've done a few times in the past in the simulator. So this is a real training route. We'll do a couple of touch and goes and then we'll have a look. So I actually came in here to go and find out the wind, didn't I? So 6 knots from the south. So it would pay for us to use runway 14. So if we just taxi to the right and go straight down to runway 14, that will work for us. So parking brake is off. Need a bit of power to get rolling. Have a nose at China Lake as we go past. Throwing out some rubbish behind us, isn't it? There's a great pilot in there, isn't there? Really nicely done. Okay, so back inside the cockpit, we're going to go and calibrate the altimeter. Not that there's a lot to do. Wonder how much runway we need for the Sabre. Do we really need the whole runway? If we go off at the next intersection, so we just cross this runway. So this is runway 21. We're crossing. Shall we go? And I'll pause, or I'll bring the airplane to a halt in a moment, and we'll put some intentions on in the background as well, so we can talk to the tower on the way round. We'll have to change our identity, I guess, to give ourselves. So Foxtrot uniform 537. Is that in the cockpit anywhere? Can we see that painted? I don't think it is it? That's a shame. So I might have to write that on a sticky note. Foxtrot Uniform 537. Just going to go and set my throttle so I can't pull it back. Oh, I still can pull it back too far. That's a shame. Okay, so we're just going to go and open up Say Intentions in the background. Foxtrot Uniform 537. We have to remember that call sign. So, identity. We are now F-86, I'm guessing.
Tower Hammer 23 requesting IFR clearance to Whiteman Air Force Base.
We are Sabre.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Cleared to Whiteman via the Salsa Date departure within the file. I maintain 6,000, expect flight level 490, 10 minutes after departure. Departure on 13365, squawk 6671, ambulance 26.
Okay, so China Lake. We have Tower 120.15. I wonder if we were to... No, this is going to be low level, so there's no point putting a flight plan in with Simbrief because it would just be ridiculous. Hey, China Lake Tower. Sabre Foxtrot Uniform 537 requesting clearance takeoff runway 14.
Sabre 537, runway 14, winds 160 at 3. Cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 14, Sabre 537. It was 537, wasn't it? Let's just have a double check of that. Yeah. So, flaps to takeoff position. Line ourselves up. So I just want to go and have a little look around before we get going at what controls we do have. Just put the external lights on. Do we get landing lights in this? I don't think we do.
China Lake Tower, Convoy 1001, request IFR clearance to Navy Lemoore. I'll have your clearance in just a second.
So I'm going to get away from the runway.
Convoy 1001, we're cleared to Lemoore, radar vectors pass, he then is filed, climb maintain 6,000, expect 14,000. 10 minutes after departure, departure on 133.65 and squawk 2642, and we'll expect runway 14 for Convoy 1001.
So coming up
Convoy 1001, read back correct.
It's taking a while because we're heavy, remember. And we're up. Gear up. And flaps up. So if we go and have a look at the map, and see which way we're going to be going. We're going to be heading, set that as the active flight leg. It would be helpful if LittleNavMap told us what direction that is. 254 degrees. So we have a compass. Feeding in an absolute stack of elevator trim. China Lake Tower, Sabre 537, departing to the west for the Sidewinder low level.
Sabre 537, enter left downwind for runway 21.
Didn't understand that, did they? China Lake Tower, Sabre 537 departing to the west. We'll be back later.
Sabre 537, roger, continue westbound departure.
There we go, understands that. Okay, so we're going to make our way around to... I always get the name of this wrong. Is it Isabella Lake? Yeah, it's the other way around, isn't it? I was going to call it Lake Isabella, but it's Isabella Lake.
Los Angeles Center, Southwest 1338, flight level 410.
Southwest 1338, radar contact.
Shall we also make sure that I'm on multiplayer properly? So if anybody wants to join me, they can. I'm on using the... Let's go for West USA, shall we? Save and back, and back. We'll also go and run transmitter in the background. So I am call sign FU 537 and we're using West USA and connect. So I'm transmitting on transmitter so anybody can see that. Where I am now, if you go to transmitter.virtualflight.online. Okay, so here's Isabella Lake. We're going to scoot around the back of it to the dam in the corner, and that marks the beginning of the Sidewinder low-level route. So this aeroplane is rolling to one side, so I'm going to trim that out of it on the ailerons. It's still going picking up nose up, so I'll fix that as well. So we're going to pop over the top of the hill here and then do a fairly steep turn down over the corner of the lake heading north. There's the dam in the corner, so we'll extend this way and then do a high G turn to the right. Started to black out. Okay, we just need to stay away from Kernville then, the Kern Valley. There's a noise abatement rules on that. We're not allowed to go charging through there with a jet fighter. There's very good scenery. I think I've got it installed actually for Kernville. Okay, so we carry on up to the Needles, which are on that mountain top in the distance. But we can drop in low level now and start having some fun. This aeroplane is thrown around quite a lot, isn't it? It moves on the air. It's quite cool. To remember that this has got the drop tanks on it, so it's not light. Okay, so we've got our first reference point for navigation coming up at the needles here. Let's go and have a look at the map. So we're going to turn to 40 degrees as we pass the needles. Keeping half an eye on the compass. Why is the simulator has stopped rendering? Look, there must be some network issues going on. How odd. So if you ever wondered what it looks like when the data doesn't feed, that's what it looks like. Okay, so we're actually heading for one of these hilltops over here. Let's have a look. We can pick our way down basically. So if we go between these ridges here, I think this is the normal way we come through. Yeah, we're heading straight for it, look. There's like a natural dip. And it leads to a gully on the other side, which you can fall down rather nicely. Past this hill and turn right. So I think it has a name, the hill we've just avoided, Templeton Mountain. There we go. So we're headed for the ridge. So if we go and gain a little bit of altitude, down through the ridge. Doing nearly 500 knots. We are shifting. And roll out onto the floor of the valley. Okay, so we've got a bit of a stretch up here until we get to, look at that lake, it's amazing, isn't it? Got a bit of a stretch until we get to a reservoir at the far end of this valley, which is our next reference point for a turn. So you can see going past all the way up to waypoint number 4, so we just stay low in the valley. We should be able to play games with seeing our shadow. What time of day is it? Which way is the sun coming from? So our shadow should be directly below us. Okay. Why can I not see our shadow? We have a mysterious shadow that's vanished. Oh, it's directly below us. There it is. It is there. So maybe we won't play games with the shadow today, seeing it's directly below us makes it quite difficult. Unless we do it like this. That's enough of that. Should we go for some altitude? You can see the airspeed falling off. Look, 400 knots, 350 knots. And you should be able to see, there's the reservoir where we turn. Okay, let's go and drop down to the reservoir. Coming up to 500 knots again. So when we reach the reservoir, we're going to turn right 60 degrees. So we can't continue straight on down until we reach the valley floor on the other side. So we can and basically pick our own route down. Which way do we want to go? Should we go this way? Follow the mud trails where the rain washes down through the hills, look. Okay, so we make the turn, go over the end of this valley and drop down into the valley where the where the Jedi transition is, but it's a little way further on yet. Aim for this side. Just give the hills a respectful distance. And then drop down the valley. Follow the mud trail. It's a bit more interesting to look at, isn't it? So we round the turn, we should see an island out in the middle of the valley soon, and there it is, just coming into view on the limits of our vision. Have I... Well, maybe we have to go over the next one. I can't remember. Let's have a look. Yeah, we have to go over the next one. It's here. So Panamint Springs is where the Jedi transition is. Star Wars Canyon, as they call it. There is nothing out here, is there? It's quite odd. It stands to good reason why they use this for weapons testing and for low-level flight training. And look, there's a building here, or is it just a lump? No, it's a building. It's probably a shed to hold stuff. Okay, so here's the marker. These rocks here are opposite the entrance, or sorry, the exit, sorry, of the transition. So if we climb up, we can have a look. So there's the exit, and there's the way in up this end. There's another one here directly below us, which isn't quite as good. You can see there's a curving entrance into it, which is opposite those rocks. So this is the entrance into what they call Star Wars Canyon. The Jedi transition is when you get basically along there, you don't continue on down that valley. You cut across early and come straight in for this. Okay, so let's go around. It's just complaining because I pulled the throttle back too much. We are being thrown around by the wind a lot. Okay, so we're now heading back towards China Lake. So back down to the end of the valley. We can cut across any point we like, really. And I'll try to land it somewhat safely. Okay, so we're just about 4,000 feet above sea level, just dropping down a little bit. It's interesting, years ago I remember reading books like The Right Stuff by Tom Wolfe, and he talked about the pilots talked about the high desert out where Edwards is, and it never really occurred to me at the time the reason they call it the high desert is because it's at high altitude. So this this part of this is quite low actually. Some areas of the desert are up around the 8,000-9,000 feet mark, but it's only around 3,000 or 4,000 feet around here. But it's nowhere near sea level. So yeah, you go over towards Denver now that way, and you get some serious altitude. So, the F-86 is just as good as it was. It's not accurate. You can throw it around and do all sorts to it, but that's not the point of it really. It's supposed to be accessible, it's supposed to be fun, and that's the whole point of the Shrike Simulations product line. They are somewhat simplified, but you can still have good fun with them. There's the lake we came past on the way in. Or was that on the other side? I can't remember now. No, that was over there, wasn't it? This is a different one. This is Searles Lake. So we can come past an airfield in a moment. Come ripping past it at 450 knots. Buildings are over there. So there's the... Is that the airfield, or have we already passed it? I think we've already passed it. No, it's to our left now. That is the airfield. In the dirt. But the people that live around here get really fed up of the aeroplanes coming past low and fast. It's a simulator putting pleasure boats on this lake. I very much doubt that there's any boats on this. It's basically a puddle in the desert. There might be some salt extraction work going on, maybe. Okay, let's go and turn out towards China Lake. Let's get some altitude. So you can see the base out there. ,5,000 feet. China Lake Tower, Sabre 537 approaching from the east, requesting full stop landing.
Sabre 537, winds 190 at 7, runway 26, cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 26, Sabre 537. So straight in, so we'll do a military pattern, shall we? Or something vaguely approximating it with an aeroplane we've never done it before with. So we're going to brake over the airfield to lose all of our speed. We're already losing some now, but we need to come down to about 1,000 feet above ground level. So what is the altitude of the airfield? Can we do this before we slam into the ground? 2,200, so we want 3,200. Which we're just coming down towards. There's our 3,000 and brake. Should take the speed off. Famous last words. That's the runway. Oh, we've turned too much. What is going on with this aeroplane? It would not drop the gear until I was going slow enough that it wanted to fall out of the sky. That was bizarre. Okay. So maybe we'll do this again. Maybe we just found a hole in the flight model. I'm now at full throttle and I can't accelerate. So gear back up, flaps back up, speed is coming up, 200 knots. That was unintentionally scary as hell. So we're going to come in again and try that again and keep an eye on the speed a bit more this time and use the spoilers more. Yeah, so it doesn't like using anything less than about 70% throttle without the gear down. So we should be at 3,200-ish. Let's just drop down again then. Let's try that again. So it's quite helpful with the spoilers out. It maintains speed quite nicely. So we're on runway direction. So we're going to brake. It's the wrong way. So yeah, I'm having to use the spoilers or the air brakes to slow down. It wants so much throttle while it's complaining. Even with full spoilers, it's accelerating again. Look. Let's see if we can lose the speed in the turn. Some of it. Horrible. It's like a big heavy school bus when it gets slow. That was horrid. Unexpectedly horrid. And I know we're heavy, but even so, that was more difficult to land than I thought it was going to be. So maybe it's not very realistic.
Sabre 537, welcome to China Lake. Taxi to Park 50 via Alpha, monitor this frequency.
We'll monitor this frequency, taxi via Alpha 537. Let's go and have a look at the map, see where Alpha actually is.
Sabre 537, taxi to Park 50 via Alpha, monitor this frequency.
Alpha is over there. That makes no sense. Unless they mean come along the runway and then turn onto Alpha. It's probably more what they mean, isn't it? That was bizarre. So maybe the physics isn't quite there for the landing with this particular aeroplane. We were almost full throttle with the flaps down and gear, and I couldn't get it stabilized. It was either falling into the floor and about to crash, or it was accelerating. So this is the Alpha taxiway we're just coming up to now. So I can see Gregorio is there in the live stream comments talking about St. Bart's. Yeah, it's a famous short runway. It's good fun. As long as you know your aeroplane well, you can get most aeroplanes down there. So should we go and park in between the F-35s where we took off from? There is an F-117 over there. Just see it in the hangar. There's a few things about it that are weird. Yeah, we have a strange ticking noise now that won't go away. I think it's a bug. It will do it with all power off. What we can do though is go and open the canopy, I think. There you go. So I hope you've enjoyed that. We can get a pretty close look at the pilot there. So he needs to be careful, he'll bash his head on the hoop from the canopy. So Zach is asking, is 2024 worth the upgrade from 2020? It always has been. There is a very negative, a very small, very loud, very negative group of people that spend a lot of time bashing everything and anything on the internet. 2024 has been very, very good ever since it released. But because it doesn't work with their favourite add-on that they've had for the last 6 or 7 years, they'll claim the entire simulator is a load of rubbish. And I'm sorry if I'm taking quite a controversial opinion on that, but I'm fed up of reading negative things about anything and everything. So yes, Flight Simulator 2024 is very, very good. And that's my opinion on it. That's my personal opinion, that I think it's very, very good. Okay, anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. That was a quick run around the Sidewinder low-level route in the US with the Shrike Simulations F-86 Sabre. So as you could see, it was great fun to fly. The only thing seems to be lacking is the kind of the physics around landing, but maybe that's realistic, having to use nearly full throttle with the flaps and gear down. Who knows? But I certainly had troubles getting it to be, to stabilize it on approach. It seemed to either want to put itself into the floor or to accelerate. So there we go. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I'll see you all again soon. Take care.